Marathon is not Call of Duty.
Launching rocket.
Got him. I got one down. I got one down.
Stun grenade
Team
out.
one.
And the fact that it's even being compared to Call of Duty is the first sign that most people are judging this game by the wrong rules. Because Marathon is not trying to win a gunfight, it is trying to make you hesitate before one. The difference matters, and if you miss it, nothing else about this game will make sense. Marathon is an extraction shooter. That puts it in the same conversation as Escape from Tarkov, Hunt, Showdown, and Arc Raiders. Not a military shooter, not an arena shooter, not a power fantasy shooter. Extraction shooters are built on risk, loss, and restraint. They are about what you choose and what you choose not to do. And Marathon is Bungie finally stepping into that space on purpose. The problem is, extraction shooters are widely misunderstood. Most players see guns, movement, and the first-person combat and assume the goal is dominance. But dominance, that's not the point. Survival, that is always the main goal. Extraction shooters are games where success is not measured by kills, but more so what you bring back. They are games where silence can be more powerful than firepower, where walking away is often the smartest decision you can make. And that design philosophy is where Marathon starts to separate itself from the expectations that people bring to it. Let's talk about what defines the extraction genre. In an extraction shooter, every match begins with a choice. What do you bring in, knowing you might lose it all? The gear, it's not cosmetic, it's a commitment. The moment you deploy, the game is already asking you a vital question. How much are you willing to risk for what you want? And that question, it never goes away. Every sound, every movement, every engagement, it weighs on your decision. Extraction shooters are not loud by default. They are quiet until they are not. And when things go wrong, believe me, from the few I've played, they go wrong fast. This is where a lot of players bounce off the genre, because extraction shooters, they don't reward constant action. They reward patience. They reward awareness. They also reward restraint. They punish greed. They punish panicking. They also punish the overconfident. That's not a bug. That's a design. And this brings us to Escape from Tarkov. Tarkov is the purest form of the genre. It's dense. It's brutal. It's uncompromising. Tarkov does not care if you are new. It does not care if you're tired. And it definitely does not care if you are frustrated. Every system in Tarkov stacks pressure, complex inventory, ballistics, injury, sound propagation, persistent loss. Tarkov asks players to endure it all. And for a certain audience, that's exactly why this works. But Tarkov, it also reveals the limits of the genre. The deeper you go, the heavier the burden, not just in game systems, but in mental load. At a certain point, tension, it turns to exhaustion. And that's where burnout lives. And that's exactly where Marathon intentionally diverges. Marathon is not trying to take out Escape from Tarkov. It's not trying to overplay and overwhelm players with friction. Instead, Bungie is asking a different question. How do you preserve tension without crushing accessibility? This is why Marathon simplifies without flattening. Systems are readable. Information is intentional. Complexity exists, but it is curated. The pressure comes from decision making, not from memorization of spreadsheets. That alone places Marathon in a different lane. Now let's talk about Hunt Showdown. Hunt is an extraction shooter built on the atmosphere. It understands something fundamental: fear. Fear does not come from enemies alone. It comes from the uncertainty. Hunt, it weaponizes the sound. Every footstep matters. Every time you reload, it matters. Every time you shoot a shot, it's telling a story. Silence in Hunt, it's never empty. it's threatening. Marathon also shares that philosophy. Marathon is not loud on accident, but it is very quiet on purpose. When nothing is happening, you are not safe. You are exposed. That kind of design makes players uncomfortable because it forces them to do a couple things: slow down and be a little more aware. And slowing down, it feels very wrong if you're trained on constant feedback loops. This is where Marathon will lose a few players, but I personally think that is okay because extraction shooters, they're filters. They're not designed to appeal to everyone. They're designed to test a mindset. And if you need constant validation, constant action, constant rewards, this genre, it will reject you, Marathon included. Now let's bring Arc Raiders into the conversation. Arc Raiders, it represents the future. The future Bungie is clearly aware of. Accessible extraction, low barrier to entry, clear goals, readable systems. Arc Raiders understands that not every player wants to suffer to feel tension, and Marathon exists somewhere in between these extremes. It's not as punishing as Tarkov, and it's not as forgiving as Arc Raiders. It's a midpoint, and that's a deliberate one. This positioning is important because it explains almost every controversial decision around Marathon: the pacing, the atmosphere, hell, even the pricing. $40 has confused a lot of people, but Arc Raiders was 30. So it shouldn't. Marathon is not selling volume. They're going to be selling you focus. This is not a bloated content machine. This is not a yearly grind. It's not trying to trap you. It's trying to give you an experience and get out of the way. That's it. An extraction shooter experience and getting the hell out of the way. That brings us to the heart of the video. Marathon is not competing with Call of Duty. It never was. Call of Duty is about expression through action, through explosions. Marathon is about expression through choice. Call of Duty asks, how fast can you react? Marathon is going to ask you when you should react. Those are fundamentally different questions. Extraction shooters ask players to manage fear. Manage the fear of loss, manage the fear of being seen, manage the fear of being heard. Marathon leans into that without drowning the player in friction. That balance is a little difficult, and it's why expectations matter so much. If you walk into Marathon expecting dominance, you're going to be very, and I do mean very, disappointed. If you walk into it expecting tension, you might find exactly what you're looking for. But this is why comparisons matter. Marathon should be judged next to Tarkov, next to Hunt, next to Arc. Not because it copies them, because it speaks to the same language, to the same audience. A language built on restraint, a language built on risk and consequence. So the real question is not, is Marathon good or bad? The real question is, who is Marathon for? And Bungie has already answered that. It's for players who value decisions over dopamine. It's for players who respect silence. It's players who understand sometimes the smartest play is to leave. If that sounds like you, then Marathon, it makes sense. It's the game for you, especially if you're an Arc Raiders fan and you enjoy this price point and not being priced out of something that you might enjoy. Nothing we said appeals to you. That doesn't mean it's a failure. That's design. And that's the conversation we should be having. Not whether if Marathon looks exciting enough, but whether we are willing to meet it on its terms. If you watched up until this point of the video, I appreciate you. Let me know your thoughts and your comments around the next hottest and the most anticipated extraction shooter of 2026. Till next time, king of the podcast, casual gamer. Some people call me the contrarian. Like I said, I'm going to have a lot of fun breaking down, streaming, and talking about Marathon this year. This is going to be our replacer game for all Call of Duty content. A big risk for us. It's a big risk, but what I'm seeing in the development phase of this game, I'm thoroughly enjoying. So make sure you tap in, drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know if this is the game for you. Let me know if this is just going to be a clone of Arc Raiders or Tarkov or even Delta Force. We didn't even mention Delta Force. The extraction genre is setting itself up to be the next big boom after Battle Royale. Drop your comments and your thoughts below. We are out.